Joseph, is the War on Terror strategy working?
No.
Do you care to elaborate?
No.
Chiang Kai-shek.
Hi!
Do you think the U.S. needs allies?
Yes, the U.S. does need allies. In the Cold War, there was NATO, which was a group of all the Western countries that were all fighting against communism. So if the U.S. has had a ton of allies to fight terrorism, then terrorists would be diminished.
Why do you think the Marshall Plan is so great?
Well, because it gave our nation $13 billion to fend off communism. And that is precisely what we need today, to get rid of all that terrorism in our country.
How do you feel about the War on Terror?
I believe that the war on terror is not working a bit. I have a nuke and I want to use it. It's like if a little kid gets a lollipop from a store and his mother says, "No, you cannot use it."
How do you feel about the War on Terror?
The war on terror strategy is not working. Hi!
Joseph, what course of action would you take on the War on Terror?
I would construct a perilous wall to shield the Americans from our good friends, the Afghanistanis, the Iranians, and the Iraqis.
Is the War on Terror strategy working?
Of course it's not. All to do is nuke those Iraqis.
Sir, but...
Nuke those Iraqis!
Sir,
Nuke them!
do you support the House Committee of Un-American Activities, or HUAC?
Oh yeah, HUAC's great. They got all those communists all locked up in jail where they belong. You know, I mean, that was quite a party last night, but, where was I? Have a drink. Thank you.
Is the War on Terror strategy working?
Hi!
How do you feel about the War on Terror?
But, War on Terror, it's,
Sir, are you okay?
I actually gotta use the John.
The John?
Yes, yeah, the John. But don't worry, I shall return.
How do you feel about the War on Terror?
Hi! Chiang Kai-shek, Yao Ming, Mao Zedong!
Don't worry, people in the studio, I have returned.
So whose side of the war are you on?
I am on the side of the Iraqis, the Iranis, and the Afghanistanis. Because I really want them with me in my crew, my posse, the Warsaw Pact, you know? Yes.
So why do you think President Truman dismissed you from your position?
Well, back in Korea, when we were pushing north towards North Korea, I also tried to challenge those communists in China. And President Truman didn't like that very much, so he got all his friends, and he's like, "I want you dismissed." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because." I was like, "Sure."
Do you think the execution of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg was justified?
Well, yeah, those Rosenberg, they were communists, all of them. They deserved to die.
What do you think about the War on Terror?
The war on terror is a bloody outrage!
Now that you mentioned Mao Zedong, how do you feel about him?
Mao Zedong? Hi! Hiya!
What is your plan for the War on Terror?
Well, start off by getting everybody in the home front that's a terrorist out. And, I'm gonna help out you, and you. Go, you're terrorists. Get them out of here! What are you... Get moving!
So not everybody is a terrorist.
Sounds like terrorists talking to me.
What's your plan for the War on Terror?
Well, I believe we need something like the Marshall Plan that fended off communism. We need like the Obama Plan to fend off all these terrorists that are doing no good in our country.
Do you fear that terrorism will spread?
Yes, I do, because back in my day, I believed in the domino effect, that if one country fell to communism, the rest would fall to communism. In this day, it's terrorism. Same exact thing, though.
So why do you think the tactics are working?
Because the fighting in Iraq is at a stalemate, and the brinkmanship needs to be strengthened with some bombs. I need to bring my main man, Nikita Khrushchev, in here because he did work at the Cuban Missile Crisis.
What laws from the Cold War do you think would be successful in the War on Terrorism?
Well, of course, there's the Truman Doctrine, which is added to me, Harry S. Truman. And then there's the Eisenhower Doctrine, which gave economic assistance to all those countries that needed to defend themselves against communism, which could also work against terrorism.
Okay, shut up a cannon. Berlin Airlift, go.
Well, Berlin Airlift. That stupid Berlin Wall that Stalin put up. We had to send in troops and supplies over that blockade to Western Berlin to get our Allied troops safely supplied with food and materials they need to fight off this war. So, with the war on terror, we should send in new supplies and stuff to our soldiers in Iraq, Iran, or Afghanistan, or wherever they are at the moment, and help those soldiers so we can have them come home.
So let's say, Mr. Compton. Do you think he would be a terrorist? Oh my God. Is he alive? Get over here, quick! What do you think should be done in the war on terror?
Well, you see, all we have to really do is just contain them. Like, all the terrorists, get them in one little spot, they can't spread. If we contain it, then they're not going to go anywhere and we're all fine.
Remember, children,
Say no to terrorism.
Terrorism!
Chiang Kai-shek, Chiang Kai-shek. Joseph Stalin, Joseph Stalin. Douglas MacArthur, Douglas MacArthur.
No good! Them Iraqis!
Chiang Kai-shek is our check.